with the Kai'Sa Braum, so curious to see if they do pick it, if they just play more standard, but the bans are finished for phase 1. Zoe was the last one for Golden Guardians, taking that away from Bjergsen, and actually Rakan away from Matt.
Yeah, we have seen a lot of teams also using the Rakan plus Xayah as a mid and jungle funnel strategy there, so banning out one half. Plus, Matt has had some very good engages in his Rakan games, and he actually had a pretty good day yesterday. They got first blood in the bottom lane before Golden Guardians started to lose control of that game.
Ooh, and this already signals a change in the wind, I think, for Golden Guardians. Irelia first pick away from Bjergsen, kind of giving Mithy the power here in the draft. And Hauntzer, he's already locked in AAtrox, by the way. He's getting as many games as he can in before the rework.
Yeah, Hauntzer is just loving the old AAtrox, and he had a very good game yesterday, in contrast to last week where Impact completely bullied him with a Renekton pick. He had a very strong game versus another Renekton, was able to do just fine in lane, also turn that one around for them. So he feels very confident, obviously, on the champion. And it is once again going to be paired with Grig Sejuani, who is the one who stole the Baron and was actually able to keep TSM in that one.
Sejuani certainly, I think a lot of the junglers here in NA happy to have that champion back in the meta, but as that happens, this will start happening. Trundle being picked back up, who really was not bad. I guess just moved into more of a support position, meant that you didn't see as many traditional jungle picks.
Trundle is extremely strong still, and especially, we mention this every time we see Sejuani, her especially taking Aftershock, you know, plus all of the armor that Sejuani does get from her passive, works really poorly against Trundle, as Trundle's ultimate will steal all the stats, and then after her passive falls off, after Aftershock falls off, she can go negative. You know, the negative shred that she gets from the Trundle ultimate will still work on her base stats, and that makes her a very squishy piggy.
Certainly does, as you mentioned the matchup already. There's actually Renekton for Lourlo, so he's counterpicked into Hauntzer's AAtrox, and Bjergsen has shown this off already. Darius as a counterpick into Irelia.
Yeah, going to be chasing him around, and we'll see if they actually get that matchup. As you said, you know, Mickey could take the Irelia, Lourlo could take it. These guys technically could swap the champions, but we would expect, yeah, Mickey to be the one piloting the Irelia, and we might expect him to be in the mid lane, but also could be shifting deftly around. And let's see if the Golden Guardians, you know, their bottom lane or the duo lane is still yet to be locked in, so they might actually diverge. He does have that one brand game, at least as far as the mages do go.
Yeah, actually, based on these 6 picks, it looks like 2 solo laners and 2 junglers on either side. So you're going to start seeing some potential bot laners banned out. Vladimir fits that bill for TSM, and Varus saw it yesterday from Zven. Going to take that one off the board as well.
It's funny because, yeah, Zven has 2 games of Varus, but that was also because Kai'Sa, Ezreal were also banned out in that game, as well as Lucian. So those options are still available if we're talking about the bottom lane still. And Lucian is an extremely powerful, you know, laner down there for the bottom side, especially with, you know, things like Braum still left up, and having that open possibility of, you know, even going for the stuns and getting early kills against any sort of lane.
There is the Ezreal ban. Heimerdinger, another bot lane ban there for TSM, but this to me feels like pick a strong support and then counter pick your AD is I think the strategy for TSM, or take the best one if you think it's Kai'Sa.
Yeah, stealing that one away. As we said, Deftly has played a lot of the Kai'Sa for Golden Guardians, and it looks like Zven will have his hands on it once again.
I'm venturing to think there's also still funnel on the table for TSM with Sejuani. I've seen that a couple of times, but if I recall correctly, TSM are one of 2 teams that are yet to switch things up from your standard roles. So we'll have to see if they do make some changes with their last pick, but you mentioned it already with 2 ADs picked for the solo lanes, or at least that's what it looks like. Something like Brand becomes a lot more attractive there in the bot lane, and that is the lock-in for Deftly.
Yep, as you said, especially when you're facing these pure tanks like Sejuani, don't want to let her just stack a bunch of armor, so diversify the damage profile on your team composition. Looks like he will be in charge of the Brand once again. And the percentage shred going to go a long way there with the passive. Zven, by the way, you know, that his first game that we saw this split on the Kai'Sa was their win versus CLG on day 1. And he looked very good on it, 5-1 and 9. So TSM very happy to grab him that power pick once again.
Yeah, they are well practiced on a lot of the standard picks. Remember, before all this craziness, Kai'Sa was just a regular old bot lane champion. And Sven had a lot of games on her there. Shen support last pick there for Golden Guardians, at least that's my assumption. And now a support to come for TSM. It's Alistar locked in for mithy.
And whenever you do see Kai'Sa, you're looking for other champions to set her up with hard crowd control to apply plasma for her to easily maneuver around fights. And TSM have that in spades. All of these champions, have their own forms of crowd control. And it will be a bit of a brawl, considering Golden Guardians are mostly melee champions. They're mostly dive composition here, with Brand just trying to spread around a lot of AoE magic. And it's going to be definitely a bit messy as far as the way these team fights are going to go, because Golden Guardians are just going to target whoever's closest, put the trundle shred on them with the ultimate, try and burn through the fight front to back, and it's all going to be about Zven. Can he keep his positioning safe during the burning?
Certainly something he is well known for, but can be tough with this many people trying to take out your champion. We'll have to see, but it seems like teams are kind of falling back to some pretty standard patterns. Of course, that could all change when the champions get onto Summon Azure, but coaches will shake hands. And kind of a calm one to start things off, at least for now. But as you said, Kobe, I think a lot of fighting is on the horizon.
All right, and once again, we're going to get the Renekton into AAtrox matchup. I think if Contractz, especially on this trundle, makes an early visit up to that matchup, then we might see, again, another early Renekton bullying the AAtrox. You press the attack, it procs very easily on your W, because that counts as 2 swings right there, if it's not even empowered, and then prepare to get the extra one as well. So you can easily get a lot of bursty trades out on you early, and the goal in that matchup is trying to get AAtrox off of the minions so that he doesn't get to sustain with his W passive auto and be able to control those minions. It's all about that early kind of threshold that you have to push over, and just a little bit of jungler attention can definitely go a long way.
Well, we're going to see, again, some more standard junglers here. So Contractz and Grig will see where they do want to put that attention, as for the first time in a little while, both junglers have smite this game. Very interesting.
I feel so much at home. They're going to be fighting over scuttle crabs.
Ooh.
We've come to know and love.
We've come to know.
Yeah, that's one of them. Trundle, though, Trundle is very good, especially at dueling early. So one thing that you have seen with champions like Trundle, or Camille is another good example that's very good after just a level 2 at dueling people, is you grab your red buff, control both scuttles, and try and bully the other jungler out of control. And then that can kind of snowball both in vision as well as keeping the timer and control of the very valuable source of experience and gold. In pro play, it's fairly difficult because the laners are going to be fighting very heavily to make sure that your jungler can at least trade for one of those scuttles, and put down the wards. But Golden Guardians making the first move.
Late invade, there is a slow for Contractz, gets the bite down. Hauntzer forced to skill Q and fly away.
And that's very important. This is a minute 30 in. The delayed invade gives them a big chunk of health onto the AAtrox, and that gets them closer to that threshold I was talking about of Renekton being able to push AAtrox away from the minions and not let him get sustained through his W audio attacks. That couple hundred health in the level 1 right there, definitely going to be big.
See Lourlo using that, playing up, does spin the blade around and get some damage down onto Hauntzer, who is going to have to wait patiently for these minions at this point. Yeah.
Luckily there for Hauntzer, though. He was able to get all 3 melees with his Dark Flight. So he did get the last hit on all of those. Feels pretty good, at least, about securing the money there. And he's staying in experience range, even if a couple of these range ones do die off. Meanwhile, though, because Contractz and Lourlo went for that invade and they started red, it made Grig an easy path down to trade the Scuttle Crabs, because he knows there's no way Contractz, unless he shows through the mid lane, is going to control both of them. And Grig will at least be able to get one, but still, he's going to have to be very worried about going offensive here, as there's so much control in the Golden Guardians early game.
Contractz is here in the top side, but I think it's more for these Krugs than potentially diving onto Hauntzer.
I think, yeah, Hauntzer smells the possibility, of a dive here. And it's so, AAtrox cannot stack up his passive level 2. You just don't have enough abilities to get those going. So he needs support.
Ooh, nice pathing actually from Grig, but Contractz already level 3. Is going to counter jungle these away. Lourlo, with the push, is able to join his jungler very quickly. Make sure to protect him from any potential skirmish.
Yeah, get some more levels in Aatrox. Now Hauntzer has access to all 3 abilities. You can more quickly stack your passive up and get your revive ready for a possible tower dive. Still, though, good trade from Lourlo there. Proxys press the attack, gets off his harassment at the turret. And we're seeing some of the ramifications of the invade as well. Now Grig is going into dangerous territory here across to the red side because he doesn't have any camps left on his side to go for. Luckily for him, though, none of the laners are collapsing on him. They don't have vision. And Contractz is, again, focusing top.
Yep, Contractz, instead of just doing the rest of the camps, is actually going to try and continue to bully this lane. Lots of attention for Hauntzer. There's going to land the pillar. Oh, no, he got stunned by Lourlo. So well played by the Golden Guardians. There's the flash auto, and Lourlo gets the kill. That looked hilarious.
That pillar of death just stuck Hauntzer right on the end of it, and he was unable to get off. Tried to dark flight out of it, but not going to have the correct timing there. mithy going to have to flash away from Bjergsen, though.
Bjergsen, though, yep. We're going to spin it around. Decimate, passive goes up. No dunk just yet, so mithy should be safe for now. mithy, though, this is a classic Alistar spot.
It's going to be a regular flash. mithy does have Ignite, but mithy is on the far side. Good positioning here. I think that was a good call on the roam, probably, from the Golden Guardians bottom lane. They talked a lot about communication with mithy, and this gameplay either is just super good game sense by him or good communication. Let's take another look and slow this one down to see the interaction. Pillar goes up, knocks him above, but Lourlo just barely, it looked like, got the stun off.
Yep.
As he's in the air, so unable to actually take flight there.
Yep.
Jumped very high, about to spread his wing.
I believe Hauntzer has actually already showed us this interaction versus on, but you are only unstoppable when you are flying, not when you are trying to take flight.
Unlucky that AAtrox has to jump so high up first before trying to take flight. However, that small little second is enough for Lourlo to close the gap. It was a very good pillar there by Contractz. So one of the things with pillar placement is there's actually a big difference between the mediocre pillars and actually getting right on the person to get the full knock-up, as well as pushing them back a little bit and getting the center of the slow there. So definitely well played by him, right on the champion, and it earns them the first blood.
Yep, Contractz' persistence does pay off. He's going to take the Raptors again, trying to cycle through TSM's jungle. Looks like he's leaving a couple because he sees a flashless AAtrox with a wave building.
Yep.
Another dive is coming, Kobe.
They want to camp him again. Here we go.
Not a very restful vacation for Hauntzer. Get camped all time long. He's going to get pilled once more, flies back down, going to try and get the passive back up, and he's got no chance. Lourlo slice and dices through and takes him out again.
Yep, still unable to get off enough in-combat abilities there. Now, again, mithy, though, he doesn't have flash.
Oh, there we go. Solo kill from Bjergsen. Contractz still fighting. Grig gets stunned up. Great 1v1 there from the Sejuani.
Huge, actually. If we were not distracted by the mid lane kill from Bjergsen, we might have to track the pathing after the kill on top side, because Golden Guardians got a little bit lax there after they were able to, camp Hauntzer and take him down. Grig getting that money back for TSM is pretty big for them. All that being said, though, Golden Guardians still with a very healthy early game lead.
By the way, there's still a 2v2 in the bot lane. Looks like it's pretty even on CS so far, but definitely I think as expected in the early stages of the matchup, playing pretty aggressive and getting that lane pushing. But let's watch this again instead. Okay, so this is the dive, and then we'll probably track Contractz a little bit afterwards here, but it's an early pillar this time to just get the slowdown, and then they know that they have the advantage of being able to use their flashes to deal with the turret aggro. Afterwards, Contractz, he actually does see Grig, and he just, a little bit greedy, wants to steal away the Krugs, goes for a one-on-one fight, but Grig has the Red Smite, and Red Smite auto-wins you that duel, able to use it, and that's going to be a mistake that Contractz wish he has back. He remembers yesterday as well, in the same area of the map. Something about it. Very headstrong player, it feels like. I mean, he could have brought Lourlo with him, so kind of interesting to see maybe some of the aggressive tendencies getting himself in silly spots.
That's one of the reasons why people love watching Contractz play, is that, oh, never mind though, mithy in mid.
We're at it again, great ult from Grig to start it up, but here's Matt with a taunt. Bjergsen again, looking for the ultimate. mithy, Vanguard Zedge just on Bjergsen, but Grig gonna just walk away from it. Bjergsen had to flash, but he did escape.
Yeah, Bjergsen did not have cooldown back on his ultimate yet, so there was no Noxian guillotine for the execution on mithy, and he has to flash away. Good collapse there. But meanwhile, as you're talking about down bottom lane, they also had a roam from Matt, and he's making his way back now.
mithy, they're going to knock up, but definitely going to turn it back around, forcing the flash out of Alistar. No level 6 there for mithy, so pretty unsafe.
You have to really respect the level 6 power spike in these mage bottom lanes. Bran having access to the ultimate can put out so much damage just with the base damages here. That's been one of the big parts about why we see so many of them in the bottom lane.
Oh, mithy barely caught him with that stun. His Contractz again. mithy gonna try and dive back in, but Bjergsen does so much damage. Ulted by Contractz, but mithy was not having the rest of that fight. Grig, though, once again, counter ganking here in mid lane.
Yeah, very good defensive use of the apprehend there from Bjergsen. Able to pull him in and get that slow down so that he can then walk away and not allow Contractz to actually close the distance in time, saving his life and getting him out of there.
Lourlo, though, you can see just taking every aggressive trade opportunity he can. Grig, though, back into the top side. No ult back up for him just yet, but Lourlo is very far forward here.
Yeah, he has his ultimate ready as well, but it would definitely be difficult because of the amount of crowd control that can come out with a Sejuani AAtrox.
Too far forward. No, Sejuani going to make it a 2v2. Dominance proc. Hauntzer does have the pack, but hits back the tower. He's able to take that last hit, and Hauntzer still alive with the Bloodwell.
Yep, doesn't even have to use the passive there. He's still going to have the cooldown, and even through the Shen ultimate, because it was under tower, the last shot does kill off Lourlo, and this is going to change the pace of the game. That was 30-something CS there. This Renekton into AAtrox match was going because of the camp, but that is going to put a big stop to the momentum here. Once again, Grig, very patient. They wait for Lourlo to get all the way into tower range, and then because he pops his ultimate under there, he also grabs the tower aggro and takes a bunch of tower shots under the turret, so really well played there. Nice trap set from TSM.
And they've decided, you know what, we finally got a win in the top side of the map. Move Zven up here, I'm out of here. As Kai'Sa going to clear out some minions here. Hauntzer is back, though.
Yeah, they want to try and push down on the turret so they can get a first turret bonus here. They have the early timing on this swap, so they've got a lot of extra time here on the turret. And they want to give as much of the solo gold as they could to Zven so he can get his Rage Blade as quickly as possible. Matt is going to be here, though, and Deftly is making the rotation up. Costs him about, 33 or so % of the turret health.
Yeah, before the replay, I did see Deftly TP to bot side, so kind of a smart swap there for TSM. Looks like Hauntzer, though, is going to make his way over to the bot side. Lourlo already dealing damage to that turret, though, so he'll lose a little bit. Lourlo should still feel pretty strong in the matchup, especially now that he's finished his Black Cleaver already.
And again, a lot of the swap is both because of the level 6 power of Brand, but also because of the Shen Stand United that we just saw from Matt. Now that you have your support Shen access to that ability, it puts a lot more threat, on the super strong dueling power of Renekton and Trundle, and they wanted to try and limit that.
Grig, though, still sticking to Hauntzer's side of the map as he takes out the Gromp here. Lourlo, I think, will perhaps play a bit more carefully, at least without Contractz, who is also invading, or at least getting vision there, trying to spot out Grig, and again, force a 2v2.
Yep. They don't have the cooldown backup for Stand United, plus, as you said, very incomplete vision. And the amount of crowd control and ease of engage for the Sejuani AAtrox is definitely very threatening, because he could just dark flight in, and the range of Sejuani ultimate allows her to get close enough, stacking up the passives. We've already seen it on display. Cloud Drake, though, is going to be a very valuable target as well as Move P.
Oh no.
Nice to be in there on the cannon miss. Those things have become so painful, Pastry.
Yeah. Bulky boys. Hard to get all their gold sometimes. Let's check back in with mithy. Still a little behind in CS. Bjergsen doing well with his counter pick here, but mithy is going to clean those minions up, and he'll be fine as the matchup continues, and he moves towards his first item spike.
Yeah, basically all of this TSM composition is a bunch of bruisers that will just play around in front of Kai'Sa. They're trying to get Zven to his Rage Blade as early as possible, and then have him just work around these fights and create room for him with all of their knockups and stuns. Golden Guardians are trying to put a stop to that. They've got the Brand to try and pressure early, Shen for cross-map plays, and a strong duo of Renekton and Trundle that they're trying to use to open up the map.
Yeah, Matt's ult is back up, by the way. So it looks like Rift are going to get started here by TSM. Golden Guardians do know about this, and bot tower is going to be the trade. Makes sense now why Grig started the objective, but I think definitely might want to try something.
Yeah, we'll see how this one turns out. TSM, it is the right thing to do to try and trade cross-map rather than fight that strong duo we're talking about. Like Renekton and Trundle very hard to deal with, so you don't want to match them, and you'd much rather just trade for something on the other side of the map. Golden Guardians do get first turret bonus gold. They should also be able to clean up this Drake, but Rift Herald will be in the hands of TSM, and when you have that eye, it does interesting things about priority, because if TSM make a move with Grig, you kind of have to send defense in that area. You can't let a Rift Herald empowered push go unattended.
Whoa, mithy with the flashbang goes there, looking for Zven. Doesn't going to land the follow-up start, and now the rest of his team going forward. mithy though still posturing aggressively. Grig is here though, trying to win the 3v3, stands united, needs to live, but Defiant Dance, not enough, man. Just there with the shield, trying to protect his teammate, but he pops a stopwatch to hope Deftly will live. Bjergsen flashes in, still ghosting in towards Deftly. Apprehend slows it down, mithy with a combo, here comes the dunk. Bjergsen gonna line it up and takes down Deftly.
Yeah, very over-aggressive call from the Golden Guardians. They make their play away from the Renekton, away from the Trundle with everyone else, and that is way too deep. During the Defiant Dance from Irelia, yeah, it reduces huge amounts of damage, depending on how many points you put into it, but it also, during that time, Kai'Sa can still stack up the passive, and then Zven able to finish him off very quickly there. Now, again, Rift Herald was activated for a very quick turret afterwards, but they only will get 1.5 here as the extra charge does go through.
Yep, feels like that's the best thing you can get most of the time as you watch this again from mithy. I mean, the Spirit of the Roam is nice, but...
So that was a good display of the ultimate flash that you can pull on Irelia. So, you know, good display of mechanics, but very, very risky decision-making as far as going really deep into TSM territory. TSM happily punished them for it afterwards.
Yep. Bjergsen again goes up to Deftly. Simple stuff to follow up from there. And it does feel like Golden Guardians, they had a 2,000 gold lead. Yep, TSM got the Rift Tower, but they traded for the first turret, for the Cloud Drake. Top tower was low, and their lane was pushing. I feel like maybe just play a bit slower.
Definitely agree on that one, Pastry. It looks like they kind of lost track there of the mini-map as well as the objectives. You generally are going to want to make your play on the opposite side of the map of you know, Shen, so you can kind of turn those numbers, but they should still be able to collect this turret. They should still be able to have a gold lead after. Problem is that you don't want to give that much money over to TSM, and especially kills to the Kai'Sa. Keep mentioning Rageblade, Rageblade, Rageblade for Kai'Sa. Well, he's got it now. He's got some more attack speed on top of it, and he's getting very close to his E-Evolve. 85% attack speed right now, so he just needs one more item, and he'll be able to use the invisibility to keep safe during these big brawls that we keep setting up for the 5-on-5 stage of the game.
Bjergsen also with those 2 kills got himself a Trinity Force. mithy though did finally answer and get his item as well. So it's pretty even as the gold lead is reflecting that. GG's up just under 1,000 gold. Hauntzer though still kind of in trouble 1v1. We talk about, you know, first item timing being important for a lot of these champions. It's very similar to AAtrox, but unfortunately for him, he does not have a completed item just yet. And Lourlo does have a BF sword, so SN3 Renekton's been pretty popular. I imagine that's what he's going for second. Unless he wants to go Guardian.
No, very well could be.
Hope he goes Essence.
So, yeah, so Essence Reaver, and we should explain the reason why Essence Reaver has become so popular on Renekton. It's amazing in duels. It's not going to be that great for team fights because he will be fairly squishy as it's all offensive stats, but once you pop your ultimate, because of the reason we talked about the W being so good with press the attack as well, and it counting as multiple strikes, on Renekton when you are able to use the W stun, not only is it a super long stun, and a lot of damage for your single target, but the auto attacks are also going to help reduce the cooldown, so you can almost stun lock people with Renekton and Essence Reaver.
Bjergsen though, they finally caught up. Bjergsen, he is looking to fall here. Contractz needs to chase a little bit further. mithy probably hungry for the kill. He's trying to ghost away and stack up the passive. Needs a bit more healing, decimating around, wasting time if nothing else. But mithy lands a stun and does grab the kill.
Yeah, he's able to delay, but because Golden Guardians had all lanes pushed, TSM really can't get anything during that delay. And it is just the 1 kill here going over to the Golden Guardians. We'll see if they can pressure mid afterwards, as right now they are converging on Zven and mithy.
Good time to try something. That around the Raptor pit. Contractz though does spot a ward. Both of them now sweeping out through this side of TSM's jungle. Wave pushing up. This is certainly an opportunity for Golden Guardians, and I think Zven and mithy know, yeah, it's time to back away.
Last outer turret is definitely the target here. Everyone converging. Grig is making his way down, though. The Golden Guardians have to be a little bit careful.
Oh, man, he took tower aggro, I think. No, he didn't actually. Maybe going to try and get out of there, but the plasma stacks up. mithy able to get the kill. Something went wrong there.
He took Zven aggro. You have to respect this Kai'Sa damage. That's why we keep mentioning it here. He just walks right up into the turret next to Alistar, and mithy has an easy time of holding him in place long enough for Zven to get off a couple rounds. When you have the Rage Blade, your passive stacks up so quickly, and this Kai'Sa got a little bit more money. Thankfully, it wasn't the last hit, actually, and that was just an assist that went over to Zven, but definitely not going to be a desirable situation there, as Golden Guardians had pressure and give over some more money.
Yeah. A little tough to siege, perhaps, but still another overplay for Golden Guardians. Maybe taking Mark's advice a little too far to heart, fighting all the time. mithy also setting up on the Bjergsen, but Bjergsen again spinning around. Good defiant dance with Bjergsen. Passive already ready. Mickey knows he has to back away, and this turret low enough that I think Mickey knows he needs to get out of there, so TSM will even up the turret score once more and keep the game very close.
Yeah, once you get the 5-stack bleed on you from Darius, the extra attack damage coming in from your Noxian Might is very, very dangerous, and you're going to have to give him a lot of room. Try and prey on the weakness of kiting him. That's why he just walks away. Now an Infernal Drake is going to spice this up a bit, PastryTime, because TSM are actually scaling up pretty quickly here with all the extra kills going over to Kai'Sa. Currently, though, they're not grouping up for it, and Golden Guardians will be happy to grab another dragon for themselves. This one, much more important here in scaling them up a little bit for later in the game.
Certainly a good one to get, so Golden Guardians will keep their Drake lead at 2-2-0. Lourlo, again, still pressuring, does actually have SM3 even now finished, but Hauntzer is collecting farm, and if Golden Guardians can't do anything with Lourlo's side lane pressure, not going to mean as much, given that Renekton will fall off a little in effectiveness as Hauntzer finally gets to his item spikes.
Yeah, definitely going to be less effective for team fights, because AAtrox, one of the good things about the current state of him, is that he's able to just kind of jump into the fights, stack up his blood well, and kind of rely on that for some team fight survivability. But Renekton, especially going to Essence Reaver, is a very squishy target, actually, and you can get burned down in those 5-on-5 situations. So Golden Guardians, again, they want to split the map, keep Renekton in the side lane, pressuring that 1v1, threatening his stun lock, and the Shen stand united as well, and kind of use that to gain more pressure on TSM and keep them corralled in their own territory a bit.
I feel like the obvious point for Golden Guardians is the fact that the mid turret's still up is got to be a little frustrating here. Would make it a lot easier to push out all these waves and use kind of the longer area you have. Instead, they're going to have to re-siege. Mickey is doing a decent job split pushing, but I think he knows in this counter-pick matchup it's going to be tough to 1v1 Bjergsen, especially if Grig steps in and makes it an unfair fight. So TSM kind of using what pressure they have with the Darius. Golden Guardian trying to crack through this outer. There's not that much health left on it, but they still need to do those last bits of health.
Yep, Zven and mithy, though, protecting the mid turret very well for TSM. And top side, it looks like there is going to be a bit of a collapse as Bjergsen and Grig are chased out of the jungle. They were able to get the Gromp for themselves, but Golden Guardians, again, trying to hold this 4-man side while Lourlo does work on top.
We talked about Kai'Sa, early game not being so great, especially in a standard regular lane, but when she gets her item, she scales so well, and thanks to the extra kills and Zven's generally good laning prowess, he's already at 2 items, probably a little earlier than they expected, as Lourlo is getting collapsed on here by mithy. Cloud Drake, though, kicking in, finally going to go off, and now Zven can just jump in pretty much whenever he wants. There he goes, Killer Instinct pop, Lourlo with a flash. Zven says, that's not enough, my friend. Dominus pop, stun is there. Lourlo actually going to try and turn it back around, but Zven on a killing spree.
Yeah, and you can see the possibilities there. He was about to be able to get off, just another auto to reduce the cooldown on his W and try and burst him down. And that is the danger of getting super close to Renekton when he has ult available to pop his Essence Reaver. But they kill him off. He's only able to get off 2. Again, your unempowered W will count as 2 auto attacks, and your empowered one will count as 3. So that's why it reduces the cooldown so quickly on the stun if you're able to get those both off. And that's how important it is to burst down that squishier Essence Reaver Renekton. Another kill, though, goes over to this Kai'Sa, and you mentioned him, you know, getting his items. He's fully operational right now. As soon as you have Nashers and Rageblade, the invisibility upgrade for Supercharger is available, and TSM should feel pretty comfortable actually taking the big fights here pretty soon.
I think you could tell Matt got deja vu approaching the mid outer turret. He was playing much more respectfully to Mithy's Alistar that time around. Unfortunately for Golden Guardians, they don't get the turret just yet. Instead, it's TSM that actually take the turret lead as they take the bot outer. But again, with everyone converging, with Lourlo back out on the map with his teleport ready, I think this will be the push where they're able to take it and still keep themselves up a few hundred gold, but it is very close. In fact, almost dead even as Golden Guardians do take that turret.
All right, we'll see the fight over wards now, because even this early in the game, Baron is a viable target if, you know, left unattended here. So neither team should be letting the vision go around that area. And you can see there's actually dueling control wards in the pit right now from Golden Guardian.
Not much of a duel, as it turns out. More of a stalemate.
Ward duels are incredibly exciting, Pastry. It's a stare-down duel.
Yeah, that's all it is. Looking each other squarely in the eyes.
Oh no! The Golden Guardians one is about to be taken out. Grig is moving over.
2v1, not a very fair fight. Lourlo and Hauntzer. Oh, maybe a few more friends joining it. 2v3 right now by the looks of things. Contractz going in, he's immediately going out. Maybe staying in, a standing AAtrox in. Lourlo kind of low, but the Essence play going up. No, Zven on a rampage. Takes down the Croc, and now Matt's forced to flash away, but mithy just storming people down. Zven collects a triple kill. Golden Guardians' aggression is starting to cost them.
Yeah, in those situations, you can't make a mistake. Oh, Mickey! Gonna have to flash. Golden Guardians, it looked a little bit undecided whether they were taking this fight and how they were going to pull it off or not, whereas TSM just collapsed on them quickly. Now they're able to move over to that Baron we mentioned, and they've got full control.
Yeah, this should be a pretty straightforward take here for TSM with Contractz dead. Still for 15 seconds. Mickey and Deftly gonna try something, but mithy running defense around the flank.
Oh, he wants to cut them off before they're able to escape. TSM will be happy to just take the Baron, though, and push afterwards.
Yeah, two big boys, both Bjergsen and mithy, basically stopping anyone from getting in the pit as well. Watch this one again.
All right, so again, they have a Shen on their team, so they can turn the numbers to 3v3 right now. But again, it looked like they were undecided as Contractz headed up, then they went to the blast cone. Then, as soon as they all get knocked up there, it's all over, right? You know, that's the whole point of this comp. Is they've got the Dark Flight and the Alistar pulverized. Zven's able to just slip right in with the Kai'Sa. During the knockup, they finish off the kill onto Renekton, and they're able to take him down. So now it's going to be all TSM here from now on, as Baron buff will empower their push. We'll see how much of a gold lead they can get after this. Up until this point, as you can see, Golden Guardians with control over the early game.
Yeah, it has been very close, but if you're a fan of predicting or forecasting things, you can kind of see where the gold graph is starting to go now that TSM have that Baron. So we'll see if Golden Guardians can defend effectively, because this game has been basically 2,000 between the two teams at any given time. Hauntzer, though, is going to get TSM a Drake. Pretty simple solo there for the AAtrox, who also has his 2 items completed. TSM looking for more, though. Again, breaking an inhibitor turret is kind of the gold standard for your first Baron push, but they'll take pretty much whatever money they can find.
Yeah, and for TSM, the money has gone to the right place. Zven now 6 kills on the Kai'Sa. Most gold in the entire game at 12,000. And that is definitely a good way to get this competition to the end game here. Secondary turret, you can tell, taken with no resistance at all during the Baron buff, and they have a leisurely road here to clean up the rest of them as well.
Yep, 4 turrets to 3, make it 5 as mid-tier 2 does fall down. Even Zven again collecting all that local gold.
Because the extra gold now too, while Kai'Sa can put out the damage on the 2 items, once you also get the Zhonyas, you then have Supercharger invisibility to work on. If they still are on you after that, if they jump on you, then you Zhonyas before a stun comes in. Then the Zhonya buys more time. You can auto attack after you get back out. That'll reduce your Supercharger time, and you can try and go invisible again. And during that whole time, there are all other 4 members of TSM, you know, running around trying to peel for the Kai'Sa. So it becomes so difficult for Golden Guardians to actually kill off the huge DPS source. And the 5-on-5's looking pretty grim.
It's only getting worse as well. Needlessly large rod number 1. There for Zven. Death cap on the way as he moves towards item number 4. You can see Lourlo, who's having such a great time in his 1v1 for basically all of this game with the help that Contractz gave him in the early stages. Now defending a Baroned up AAtrox with 2 items, and that's the least of the problems right now.
Yeah, all right, here we go. Cannon empowered by the Baron, doing a lot of work, and now every TSM member as well able to just burst through this one. Inhibitor number 1 is totally gone.
Yep.
Maybe inhibitor number 2 will follow shortly.
It's time to go for a 5 at TSM with Baron wearing off. They're just going to take the 1 inhib and be happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing about Kai'Sa, she also scales super well with both attack speed, or attack damage. Well, all stats, really.
She scales really well with items, Kobe. That's what I've been learning.
Yeah, but when you also have Baron, you know, and it's adding both of them there, she gets full value. So TSM happily take most of the rest of the structures that are still standing there for Golden Guardians, and now they're left with a very small opening. They're going to have to rely on, you know, maybe a pocket of Fog of War, some control wards where they wait in a bush or something and burst somebody down. Remember, there are other viable targets than Kai'Sa. It's just that Kai'Sa does so much damage that you either have to kill her early or take a fight away from her where she's literally halfway across the map and can't even join with the Killer Instinct and try and burn someone else down with a trundle ultimate.
Yeah, we'll see if TSM kind of give that opening to Golden Guardians, but I'm expecting, unless the game ends before then, that the next big fight point to be that Infernal Drake. You mentioned that Kai'Sa does scale very well with stats. Many more stats gifted by Infernal Drake will help her out, of course. So we'll have to see. Zven will probably have Rhydons by the time we get there as well. So you can kind of see what's stacking up against Golden Guardians. TSM, again, for a game that was 2,000 gold-ish between the two teams, TSM up 6K already and keep continuing to push here as Bjergsen is in top lane.
Yeah, happens a lot when you kind of lose pressure with those types of compositions. And now it's up to TSM to finish it out. 30 minutes in, and they are knocking at the door for inhibitor turret number 2. No Baron-empowered minions, so it's going to be a lot slower, but they do have the extra timing window here on bottom.
Ooh, Hauntzer, though, maybe the first one a little too far forward, does have the Bloodwell, but I think TSM are just going to leave him to die. Hauntzer, yep, nowhere to go, flies away.
Okay, that is the opening Golden Guardians desperately need. The passive taken down from Hauntzer, as well as actually getting the kill, is going to buy them a bit of time to try and set up, because TSM, they've taken over complete vision control as well. So their first step here for Golden Guardians after that kill is going to try and open up some area of the map where they can actually create a counterplay.
Watch it again. The spirit of the play was good, but I think Hauntzer just went a little early.
I mean, this is very reminiscent of the Matt stepping up to the turrets earlier in mid lane. Hauntzer just goes too far close. Oh, actually, Lourlo is going to take the Shen ult.
Doesn't have ulti, so didn't pop it, I don't think.
And I believe just got a little too close maybe to Zven there. Maybe the victim of a knockup or something.
Hit Sejuani.
There you go.
That was the problem. Straight to the face. And Zven, you can see, just farming with impunity. Level 16. Death cap money is almost there. About 400 away.
Yeah.
Be there before long with Infernal Drake up in a minute and Baron back in 50 seconds.
TSM coming back pretty strong this week. This will be their second win and going 2-0 yet again. This is, as the NOS desk kind of talked about, one of the teams where they were uncomfortable predicting the next few steps because we have seen so much parity in the league. We've seen so much, difference in performance from even the same teams from game to game that, consistency is a super highly valued thing. That has been quite rare.
And I think for TSM, it is good news that they are seemingly more consistent. You know, one of the reasons that even when they won, that it kind of looked shaky is that in the early game, they were making mistakes, falling behind, and kind of forcing themselves to play slower. Their more recent games have looked a lot less mistake-heavy in the early game.
Well, if you look back to yesterday's game versus Cloud9, they were about to lose the game, and they only were able to get back into it because Grig stole the Baron. So having a performance like this today where they don't have to worry, there's not as much of a swing here. Is definitely going to be, will definitely make them feel a lot better about the weekend.
Assuming they're able to close this game out cleanly, which of course is not a guarantee just yet. Certainly looking in position to do so. But you're right, even yesterday there were some struggles, so still a long way to go for a lot of these teams. But TSM seemingly on the up as I'll take Baron number 2. Hauntzer basically did that on his own. I think Grig was just a safety measure. Golden Guardian, so I think the smart trade will take this
Dragon
away.
Kings! They got all 3 in the pit. There we go.
Now they go back and use them to fight, because TSM are going to force them here.
At least they have all the Infernals.
That is true. No one can take that away from them this game, Kobe.
But they can take away the inhibitor.
And maybe the Nexus. 2 inhibs down is never a good sign, and unfortunately for Golden Guardian, it's not back in time from that Drake take to get themselves out into a position to start a team fight. And again, Zven only getting stronger. Rabadon's done. I think QSS might be on the way next, and it just feels at that point he's going to be pretty much unstoppable.
Yeah, we'll see. Irelia can definitely put out a high amount of burst damage. If they land a stun, then you don't get to use, your Zhonya's obviously, or any of your defensive abilities. And there's no cleanse on him. There is no Mikhail's either built in this game. So maybe if they are able to land a stun, and for some reason Lourlo was also able to get on top of him with Essence Reaver procced, and they get a huge amount of burst damage. You gotta shoot for the moon.
I mean, if they kill
looking for this place.
I agree. If you kill the Kai'Sa at this point, TSM's team fighting power drops significantly. And like you said, no cleanse and did not go QSS. He has a revolver sitting in the last item. So I assume Gunblade.
Yep, definitely gonna have plenty of damage here. And it's not like you can ignore the DPS sources of Darius and AAtrox. Both of those guys are definitely going to be very threatening as well. But got to choose your battles here. And Golden Guardian setting up. Matt in the brush, looking for a flank to try and get a taunt flash maybe.
I feel like we saw a lot of good work from Contractz and Lourlo early on, and maybe the best way is to surprise him with a flash stun from Renekton. It's certainly not easy. Golden Guardians don't have a super good way to engage these fights, especially to pin down someone like a Kai'Sa, but Golden Guardians have to start somewhere, and with 2 inhibs down, and the third one being threatened by Hauntzer as he pushes the Baron waves in. A minute 20 still for Golden Guardians to defend this push. I don't know if they can do this without picking a fight, because I think if they don't, they won't. This inhibitor will not live through that.
Yeah, time is definitely not their friend right now, as the minions being empowered by Baron slowly destroy the base. Got to make that desperate play.
Yep, Lourlo went to Hauntzer, trying something, but the rest of TSM already collapsing. Turret is low, they'll just take it down. Zven with 1 shot, able to get it there. And again, Nexus starts still under siege by all these Baron-empowered minions. Golden Guardians losing the battle to the minions at this point. All 3 inhibs down, they gotta go. And there's a stun from Grig. TSM's going to try and put the cap on this game. mithy, a huge 4-man pulverize. And that's definitely down to Hauntzer. It is carnage in the Golden Guardians fountain as Hauntzer and Zven just diving everyone they can see. The Nexus exposed. There's the GA pop. The resurrection is good. And this will be the win for TSM. Demolish Golden Guardians here.
TSM doing a very good job of punishing those openings, as Golden Guardians got a little bit too deep a couple of times in the early game, overplayed their hand, and overstayed.
Certainly have to agree. I think a lot of good moments in the early game. Kind of had all the things set out, but whatever it was, discipline did not kick in there in maybe some key moments. TSM punished swiftly. The players wish they can. A rough weekend for Golden Guardians, but a great weekend for TSM. 2-0. Again, like you said, maybe not the best bomb yesterday, but making it a much better ender to the weekend.
Yep, you look back, you see 2 green ones, that's what counts.
Exactly. No one's checking the game, just watching the scores. And the fans will be happy as TSM continue to improve here. Week 3 in the NA LCS.
Mithy there on the team has had kind of up and down plays. Going to be rough for Golden Guardians this week, as this is going to be their first 0-2 week, actually. They started, the first 2 splitting 1-1, so it's looking like, definitely a new split, new them. But they're going to have to recover, and we'll see how they, come back and refocus after an 0-2 week like this, and definitely try and work on the next patch.
A lot of it does just feel like, how does this team develop? Because they've shown a lot of different looks, and I think a lot of them have shown a lot of good, or at least moments that have certainly looked good. But for Golden Guardians, it's a little tough. To get more about that TSM win, though, let's send it over to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, PastryTime. TSM picking up the win over the Golden Guardians, as predicted by both of you. But out the gate, and Vedius, we'll give him credit. That's right, we got to extend credit to him. But out the gate fast for Golden Guardians. It did align with the win conditions that you set out for them, Mark. Fight early, fight often, look to get your advantages through those skirmishes. And with the focus thrown towards Hauntzer, we did see a gold advantage built for Lourlo. But as you had laid out in the win conditions, Jat, TSM bide their time to wait for the mistakes and they capitalize on it 100%.
Yes, and this is not a very positive thing to say about TSM, that they will just wait for the other team to come to their side of the map and then they will find fights and win. But they pick compositions with better scaling. They have really good players in skirmishes, and this is actually how they've won a lot of their games. So we're going to see a lot of these early kills right there. Hauntzer not having the right timing on his Q.
That was a funny looking interaction, but I think it was right where the pillar knocks him up as the Q starts going out, and then the stun chain CC. Anyways, they keep bullying the top side. This is all great play. Get your Renekton ahead. You saw how far Lourlo could push this with the CS.
Less great play.
Yeah, not so great here. Really
sticks around.
Trying to bully him
Sej does a lot of damage.
Right, you've already used your flash in that gank, so you don't have a defensive maneuver to get out.
And then they start reading that they keep trying to pressure the top side. Lourlo gets over aggressive with his advantage, gets the turret shot. He dies as well. Hauntzer still has his passive up there, doesn't even get that proc. And then here, you just see he's so far ahead of the rest of his team. mithy is flashing forward beneath 2 turrets without anyone else in range. And Zven, perfect spacing, makes sure to stay out of the Q range while weaving in the auto attacks. Really immaculate play out of him all game long.
Yeah, Zven played a really sick Kai'Sa. I think Bjergsen is the player who won his 1v1 matchup for sure, but that is partially due
to that solo kill mid lane.
But you watch this, Golden Guardians is absolutely trying to make things happen. They're trying to make plays with the Renekton and the Trundle, but they're actually opting into some bad situations. Like this was them running into a 2v3, eventually a 3v3 because of the support Shen coming in, but they didn't even touch Zven's health bar in that fight.
Yeah, and Jat, Mark as well, I'm noticing a trend here. In this entire replay package, not a single kill occurred on Golden Guardian's side of the map within that early 15 minutes of the game. Every single fight was either taken in the river or on TSM's side of the map.
I mean, that last one that gave them their Baron, that was basically the end of the kills on the TSM side of the map. And then once they had Baron, finally TSM starts pressuring in. There was the one solo kill in the mid lane, which I think technically was on Golden Guardian's side of the map. But yeah, TSM just did exactly what Jat said. They punished Golden Guardians over aggression.
Okay, so they play to the win conditions specifically against Golden Guardians, but I do want to return to the conversation that was beginning to develop at the top of this segment, which is TSM going to be able to do the same thing against, say, let's pretend they finish top 3 and go to Worlds. Can you do this against top 3 teams from other regions?
No.
No.
I think very clearly no. And I also don't expect TSM to do it now. I think what happened last week with Song stepping down to assistant coach and bringing Lustboy in is an acknowledgement that something was broken with TSM, and they're trying to take steps to fix it. Now, this has happened many times in TSM history, so they don't necessarily have the trust anymore that it will work towards Worlds. But if we are to see the change into maybe being able to play more proactive, we're going to see it later. They did what they had to do this week after acknowledging that something was broken to pick up 2 wins.
I don't have too much to add to that. I think the exact same thing. I wish TSM would start being more proactive. I would love to see more coordinated team plays than just a counter gank as people are setting up a dive or something like that. Bjergsen getting a solo kill is great, but where is like the 3-man roams that, you know, when TSM looked their best in 2016 summer, it was because Zven and Bjergsen would roam bot lane all the time. There just doesn't seem to be that level of map synergy right now.
Let's flip the script then. Let's talk about Golden Guardians. Should Golden Guardians maybe take a page out of TSM's current playbook and attempt to let other teams be the playmakers and capitalize instead themselves as opposed to always pushing forward?
I think they just need to tone it back a little bit. The level of exuberance to flash into enemy turrets during even games is a little bit too high, but they are able to find some advantages. There's no script of, hey, you need to be able to be a passive team or an overly aggressive team. I think you always want the team to be proactive because then you are in control of the situation. So I like where Golden Guardians is going. Their execution just sucked.
You could also ban Kai'Sa instead of Varus in the second round.
Maybe some pick ban stuff to look at as well. It's time to take a break. When we return, Counter Logic Gaming Challenge FlyQuest on Summoner's Rift. Don't go anywhere.
lots of attention for Hauntzer. Dead's gonna land the pillar. Oh no, he got stunned by Lourlo. So well played by the Golden Guardians. There's the flash auto, and Lourlo gets the kill. That looked hilarious.
He doesn't have flash.
Okay, we go. Solo kill from Bjergsen. Contractz still fighting. Grig gets stunned up. Great 1v1 there from the Sejuani. Whoa, mithy with the flash vanguards there. Looking for Zven. Doesn't gonna land the follow-up start, and now the rest of his team going forward. mithy though still posturing aggressively. Grig is here though. Trying to win the 3v3. Stands united. Needs to live with Defiant Dance. Not enough.
Renekton. FG. Fight that. John is 5 seconds away. John is 5 seconds away. We win. Yeah, Irelia is faster. Turn on Irelia with me. I see him.
TSM's gonna try and put the cap on this game. mithy, a huge 4-man pulverize. And there's definitely down to Hauntzer. It is carnage